So, you're an INTJ. You can map out a 5-year strategic plan for your life before your first cup of coffee. You're a master of systems, logic, and deep thought. But then, a coworker corners you by the water cooler with a seemingly innocuous, "Crazy wind last night, huh?" And in that instant, your highly optimized brain auto-tags it low-value data. Every social instinct you possess screams for the nearest exit. Sound familiar? It's like your internal operating system just hit a fatal error, trying to process what feels like pure noise. But what if I told you small talk isn't just noise? What if it's a fundamental handshake protocol for human connection? A necessary preamble to the deeper conversations you crave? Stick around, because I'm going to give you practical, logical systems that can transform awkward chatter into a strategic process you can not only optimize but actually master. We're going to turn your social struggles into another problem you can solve. Reframe small talk as social ping. Let's be honest, we INTJ crave depth. When faced with surface-level dialogue about the weather, it feels like a colossal waste of precious CPU cycles. Our brains are wired for efficiency and purpose, and aimless chatter just doesn't compute. It's not that we're inherently antisocial, it's that our internal processors are screaming, "What's the point?" This fundamental misunderstanding of small talk's purpose is the root of our discomfort. The fix is to treat small talk exactly like a network ping. A ping isn't the data itself. It's a lightweight signal designed to test if a deeper connection is possible. It's not about the content of the ping, but the response it elicits. When you engage in small talk, you're not judging the words for their intellectual merit. Instead, you're scanning for metadata, the subtle signals that indicate a potential for connection. What kind of metadata? Think tone of voice, genuine enthusiasm, micro-expressions, or shifts in posture. Does the person's voice light up when they mention their weekend pickleball league? That's your signal. It's a green light indicating an open port, a topic where their passion resides. Your internal monologue can flip from "how quickly can I extract myself" to "what useful intel can I harvest from this initial probe." This isn't about manipulation, it's about efficient information gathering, a skill INTJ excel at. It's recognizing that this seemingly trivial exchange is vital social groundwork, a prelude to establishing rapport. This mindset swap has tangible benefits. By approaching small talk as an analytical task, a data collection exercise rather than an emotional performance, you lower your cortisol levels, less stress. You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're simply running a diagnostic. Simultaneously, it boosts your natural curiosity. You're no longer dreading the interaction. You're looking for patterns and signals. These two factors, reduced stress and increased curiosity, are proven predictors of conversational stamina. When you're not fighting your own brain, social interactions become less draining and, surprisingly, sometimes even interesting. Small talk is the social lubricant that allows you to eventually find the deeper engagement you truly seek. Preload 3 openers. A chess grandmaster doesn't improvise their first 3 moves. They have meticulously studied openings. Why should you, an INTJ who thrives on preparation, approach social interactions any differently? Winging it can cause dread and cognitive overload. That's why preloading your conversational arsenal is a game changer. Before you enter any gathering, queue up 3 context-flexible, open-ended questions designed to elicit information and keep the conversation moving. Consider these tried-and-true examples. What's your connection to this event/host? This works beautifully in almost any new social gathering, immediately providing context and often a shared point of reference. Working on anything exciting lately? This is fantastic for professional settings. It encourages people to talk about their passions or projects, revealing their deeper interests. Read or watched anything interesting this month? This one taps into leisure and intellectual pursuits, often leading to recommendations or discussions about ideas. Prime territory for an INTJ. Notice the pattern? Each question is open-ended. They can't be answered with a simple yes or no. They invite the other person to supply keywords, themes, or passions that you, with your keen analytical mind, can then explore further. You can, and should, rotate these openers based on the setting. Develop a version A for networking, focusing on professional connections. Craft a version B for team lunches, leaning into shared work experiences. For family barbecues, have a version C that delves into hobbies or travel. This preparation isn't about being inauthentic. It's about being effective and respecting your own cognitive resources. When you have these reliable conversational launchpads ready, your cognitive load drops dramatically. That pressure to think of what to say next evaporates. Your natural analytical listening kicks in. You're free to genuinely process what the other person is saying, to pick up on metadata cues, and to identify gateways to deeper discussion. It moves you from reactive anxiety to proactive strategic engagement. You're no longer fumbling. You're executing a well-planned social maneuver. Mirror and label. Active listening often sounds fluffy, but for us, it isn't about performative empathy. It's about sophisticated pattern matching. The mirror and label technique is an elegant, efficient way to signal engagement and encourage deeper disclosure without requiring you to be someone you're not. Here's how it works. When the speaker drops a fact or experience, say, "I'm completely swamped prepping for a half marathon next month," your first move is to mirror. Reflect the last noun or key verb. A half marathon? Wow. What training app do you use for something like that? This simple mirroring shows you heard them, registered the information, and are inviting them to expand. It's a low-effort, high-impact way to demonstrate you're paying attention. But we can go deeper. The labeling part is where your analytical prowess shines. After mirroring the content, you label the implied emotion or state. This isn't about guessing how they feel. It's about observing the context and offering a plausible interpretation. If they're swamped prepping for a half marathon, you might follow up with, "Sounds like you're juggling a lot right now. Is it the mileage ramp or the time commitment that's more challenging?" This loop, mirroring content, then labeling affect, is incredibly powerful. It signals competence because you're demonstrating comprehension, not just passive hearing. It also prompts deeper disclosure because you've shown you can understand their situation on a more nuanced level. You're not asking them to feel something for you. You're acknowledging their experience. And the best part for INTJ, you don't have to emote theatrically. You're simply applying your logical framework to their verbal and nonverbal cues. Research, including studies from institutions like MIT, shows that reflective questioning can raise perceived trustworthiness by a significant margin, sometimes as much as 31% after just 2 exchanges. Think about that. A substantial boost in rapport and trust, achieved with minimal emotional expenditure. It's maximum social return on minimal emotional spend, a truly optimal strategy for any INTJ navigating the world of human interaction. Insert controlled self-disclosure. Our natural INTJ inclination towards logic and efficiency can sometimes, unintentionally, read as aloofness. We're not trying to be distant. We're just more comfortable observing and processing. To bridge this gap and humanize yourself, you need a strategic tool: controlled self-disclosure. Think of it as pre-packaging one bite-sized personal detail. The rule of thumb is crucial. Reveal about 20% of the story, but retain 80%. This isn't about baring your soul. It's about showing a glimpse of the human behind the logical fortress. It's a calculated risk, a small data point that signals, "I'm a person too." Here are some examples. I'm trying to like coffee, but honestly, my taste buds keep filing an appeal every morning. Still, the ritual is nice. This is relatable, slightly quirky, and shows a tiny personal struggle. I actually tried baking sourdough during lockdown, and let's just say my oven now holds a grudge against me. It's light, humorous, and instantly makes you more approachable. I've recently discovered this obscure documentary series about ancient engineering, and it's completely captivated me. This offers a personal interest that aligns with your intellectual side. This tiny, carefully chosen vulnerability does powerful work. It humanizes you, makes you relatable, and critically, it invites reciprocity. When you share a small, non-threatening personal detail, people often feel a subconscious urge to share something back. The key is to keep it brief, under 10 seconds max. Once you've offered your bite-sized disclosure, pivot back immediately with a question. Following the coffee example, I'm trying to like coffee, but my taste buds keep filing an appeal. Are you a coffee devotee, or do you have a gentler caffeine ritual? The exchange now feels balanced. You've given a little and invited them to give a little, all while staying firmly in your preferred investigative mode. You're not being overly emotional, just strategically personable. Time box and exit clean. For many INTJ, social interaction is a finite resource. Our social batteries drain fast. Acknowledging this is the first step to managing it effectively. Pushing past your natural limit leads to exhaustion, irritability, and a reinforced negative association with social events. The strategic solution: time box your exposure. Before entering a social situation, decide up front how many minutes you'll devote to active mingling. 20 minutes? 30? Set a silent alarm on your phone. This isn't about being rude. It's about giving yourself a clear, predetermined endpoint, which significantly reduces the anxiety of open-ended social demands. Knowing there's a scheduled exit can free you to engage more fully within that allocated window. When that alarm vibrates, or when you sense a natural lull in the conversation, that's your cue. Deploy a pre-planned exit line. The goal is to be polite and professional, not evasive or abrupt. Consider these effective exit strategies. It's been great chatting about specific topic, but I should circulate a bit more before the host thinks I've vanished. I've really enjoyed our discussion, but I need to quickly grab another drink before the bar closes. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm going to make my rounds. Why is this so effective for an INTJ? First, you honor the other person by acknowledging the conversation and providing a courteous departure. Second, you protect your future energy levels. You're not overextending, which means you'll recover faster and dread the next social engagement less. Third, you leave a professional, polished impression. You're seen as someone who is intentional and respectful. Think of it like version control. You've made your conversational changes, committed them, and now you're gracefully logging out. Practice micro-doses daily. For INTJ, mastering any complex skill follows a path of spaced repetition, not cramming. You wouldn't expect to become a master programmer by pulling one all-nighter. The same logic applies to small talk. Trying to cram all your social practice into one large, high-stakes event is a recipe for burnout. Instead, apply a systematic, incremental approach, micro-dosing your social practice daily. The goal is simple. Aim for 3 tiny, low-stakes micro-conversations each day. These are brief, almost transactional exchanges designed to normalize social variance and build procedural memory. Ask the barista about their favorite coffee bean. Ask your neighbor a specific question about their garden project. Engage the cashier in a 10-second exchange about a product. Offer a genuine compliment to a colleague on their presentation. These aren't about profound connection. They're about exposure. Each tiny rep helps to desensitize you to the unpredictability of human interaction. It builds procedural memory, so your brain starts to automate responses that currently feel clunky. Treat each exchange like a unit test in software development. It's pass-fail with no moral weight attached. Did you initiate and get a response? Great. Test passed. Did it fall flat? No problem. Test failed. Analyze what happened and try a different approach next time. The beauty of the unit test analogy is that failure isn't catastrophic. It's simply data for optimization. There's no judgment or self-recrimination. After just a week of consistent microdosing, you'll start to notice objective improvements. You'll likely experience reduced physiological arousal. That familiar adrenaline spike will lessen. You'll also find quicker recovery times. These are measurable changes in your stress response. You can literally plot your progress, a language an INTJ understands and appreciates. This regular, low-pressure practice builds confidence over time, making you more effective in higher-stakes situations. If these tactics feel more like logical system design than cliched charisma tips, then you're in the right place. Hit that like button so the algorithm knows to show this to other INTJ who think small talk is social malware. And hey, drop a comment below with the most surprising keyword or piece of useful intel you've collected using these strategies. Let's build a collective database of success stories. Spot gateways to depth. All right, you've successfully executed your social ping. The connection is established. Now what? For an INTJ, the real goal is the gateway to depth. The challenge is transitioning to substance without inducing social whiplash. This is where your pattern recognition skills come into play. As you engage in small talk, listen intently for specific keywords that hint at deeper interests. Words like strategy, systems, innovation, future, optimization, challenge, or problem-solving. These are your breadcrumbs, your signals that a deeper port might be open. When one of these keywords surfaces, that's your cue to bridge the conversation smoothly. Validate their initial statement, then escalate gradually. For example, if someone mentions optimizing their sleep, bridge it. You mentioned optimizing your sleep. That's fascinating. Have you found wearables or manual tracking better for collecting that data? You're not changing the subject. You're deepening it. You're showing that you respect their topic, but can engage on a more analytical level. Here's the beautiful part. People who enjoy complexity will often mirror your cadence. They'll appreciate the chance to delve into a more substantive discussion. Their eyes might light up, and their posture will become more engaged. Those who prefer the surface will often drift back to weather talk. This isn't a failure. It's a clean signal. It's permission to gracefully eject from the conversation, conserving your social energy. Essentially, you're applying Bayesian filtering to conversation. Each interaction provides new data. You update your probability estimate toward depth, or, if signals indicate otherwise, you abort and conserve energy. This transforms small talk from a dreaded obligation into a strategic information-gathering mission with clear decision points. Manage body language by numbers. For many INTJ, nonverbal communication can feel like a murky, illogical swamp. Yet, the data is undeniable. Nonverbal cues account for roughly 55% of a first impression's weight. Ignoring this is like solving an equation with half the variables missing. The good news? You can manage your body language by numbers, turning this nebulous area into a set of calibratable parameters. Instead of vague advice like, "Look friendly," we're giving you concrete, actionable targets. Let's set 3 numeric targets. Eye contact. Aim for 60% of the time. This isn't a staring contest. Hold it for a few seconds, then break it naturally, then re-establish it. 60% feels engaged without being aggressive, signaling attentiveness and confidence. Nodding. Once every 7 seconds, on average. This is a subtle, rhythmic affirmation that you are listening. A gentle nod every 5 to 10 seconds confirms engagement without requiring you to interrupt. It's a low-effort, high-impact, nonverbal "I understand" gestures. Keep them within shoulder width. We INTJ can be quite still, which reads as disinterest. Incorporating subtle, controlled hand gestures adds dynamism. The shoulder width rule provides a clear boundary, so gestures are contained and purposeful. These parameters give your analytical brain something tangible to calibrate. You're not guessing, you're executing. You can review your performance like debugging code. Too much stare? Adjust your eye contact duration, arms crossed. Reset to an open stance. You're not trying to feel friendly. You're executing behaviors that signal friendliness. This systematic approach allows you to enhance connection non-verbally, turning it into another optimized subroutine in your social operating system. Let's rapidly recap. Reframe small talk as a logical social ping. Preload 3 versatile openers. Master the art of mirror and label. Insert controlled self-disclosure, offering a 20% glimpse of your authentic self. Time-box your social exposure and plan clean exits. Practice daily with low-stakes microdoses. Spot gateways to depth using abstract keywords. And finally, tune your body language numerically. Implement these systems, and what was once a painful social ritual becomes a controllable, optimized subroutine in your life. Ready to turn social skills into another engineering problem you can solve? Subscribe for more INTJ life hacks that treat complex human interactions with logical precision. Now for a challenge. Share in the comments which of these strategies you're testing first and what your initial field reports are. Let's build a repository of real-world data and insights together. Because even strategic introverts can crowdsource brilliance and optimize our way to more effective, even enjoyable social interactions.